Welcome or welcome back on my Instagram account, Maria Ducuţă. I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Maria Ducuţă, and you can also find me on my official Facebook page, Maria Ducuţă. Today I would like to talk about a topic that I find incredibly interesting and somehow misunderstood at times, because it's about falling in love. And namely, I will try to answer this question: who falls in love first, the heart or the mind? We tend to believe that falling in love, it's something that happens automatically when we meet someone that we like, someone that we are interested in, or simply someone that we feel an incredibly powerful attraction for. But falling in love takes many shapes and comes in many forms that at times makes it even more difficult to understand and to discriminate between falling in love and being emotionally addicted to someone. So falling in love is an incredibly intimate and opening experience. It's basically the most deep and the most profound way to truly understand your soul. And this is something that happens even when you fall in love with the wrong person, or even if you fall in love with the right person and it's your soulmate and everything works out in the end for both of you. But falling in love with your heart and falling in love with your mind, or we could say your brain, it's something incredibly different. And yes, you can fall in love with your mind. For example, you can find someone that you think he or she fits your criteria for a partner. This could mean that you find someone that is almost your age, that has the same social background or the same educational background as you do, or that you find someone that has a similar past and can relate to your personal experience, and then you can fall in love with your mind, saying, this person seems to be the right one for me. Whereas falling in love with your heart requires an incredible deep connection that cannot happen unless you are truly connected with your soul. And falling in love with your heart, it's an experience that many people do not get to understand during this lifetime, because they have only fallen in love with their minds. Namely, they search for certain qualities in a partner, and once they find them in that person, they will just start a relationship. We don't talk about love there. There is no love in finding someone that mentally fits your expectation. It's like a subscription to the gym. It's like working on something. Yes, it could be nice work, but it's not something related to your soul. It's rather something related to your mind and the way in which you manage your thoughts. So falling in love with your mind, it's something that basically anyone can do. And it's something not exactly easy, but it's something that doesn't require a deep connection, because the mind has a certain already established set of wishes, expectations, and it's like a game that you play by the rules. You know the rules by heart, and you think that nothing can go wrong because you just think things through. And many people say that it is such a disappointment to just let yourself be immersed in this incredibly chaotic experience of loving with your heart. And so they say, well, I prefer to be rational about love, and I prefer to fall in love with my mind. Namely, I have this box of expectations, of already prepared requests for a potential partner, and I offer this box to my partner. If the potential partner opens the box, okay, then we are in a relationship, and we start to unpack my expectations, and of course we start to unpack his own expectations or her own expectations. And then I feel that the connection, it's actually wrong, because it's not my connection. It's a connection that I have anticipated with my mind. It's a connection that I have tried to abide by. And it's a connection that does not grow me. It does not inspire me. It does not trigger me from an emotional point of view. It does not make me feel who I am. And then this kind of falling in love with your mind always, but always, unfortunately, ends up disappointing us, ends up feeling like a burden, and like something that you could have avoided, but you didn't. And that is because what you are actually confusing, it's what your soul is searching for, namely pure love, unconditional love, and what your mind is settling for. And the mind always settles for less, because the mind simply cannot access the whole range of human emotions and cannot operate from the same depth as you can operate as a consciousness through your own feelings. So yes, consciousness involves both feelings and thoughts, but exploring consciousness, it's a journey that you can only undertake with your heart open. And you need to take your mind with you too, but you cannot let your mind be the leader in this journey, because the mind only knows what it has been taught. The mind only knows certain prerequisites for being happy, for being accomplished, for being secure. Whereas your soul, your heart, it's the place where all contrasts meet, where all your deepest thoughts and feelings and subconscious desires are located. And so, yes, your mind can be the place where you find everything that you are thinking, everything that you have learned. It's a place where a lot of knowledge is stored. But in your heart, you will find a different kind of knowledge that we call wisdom. So, falling in love with your mind, it's accessing a certain kind of knowledge that, yes, can be incredibly interesting to you. Yes, you can find a good partner by choosing with your mind, because you just take the set of criteria that you already have for a partner and you just put it on top of what your partner is offering, and you see if there is a match. And yes, you are in full control, because you are thinking things thoroughly. You are basically operating from a very safe place. You are never exposed, because your mind, of course, it's at home and it's at ease knowing that you won't fall. You don't have any place to fall, because you are safe in your mind. But at the same time, where are we feeling safe? We are feeling safe when we are locked in. So I am safe, but in a place where I cannot get out of. And basically I have no interest of getting out of, because that's what is fueling my sense of security. Whereas falling in love with your heart requires wisdom. And this wisdom means that you don't care what the other person looks like. You don't care if this person loves you back or not. Whereas when you fall in love with your mind, you do care about this. You basically don't care about anything. The only thing that you are fully immersed in, it's your connection. And if you have reached the depth of your own heart, you will reach an incredible depth by falling in love with someone with your heart. And why is that? Because you will be able to experience a certain emotional intimacy and a certain connection that will access everything that you are as a human being. That would mean that you will grant yourself, firstly, full access to your whole range of emotions, thoughts, experiences, and they will all be broadcasted in full light in this relationship that will open you up. It will open you up in a way that it will crack you up. And you will feel lost. And you will feel at times defeated. Why? Because your mind will be defeated. In falling in love with your heart, the mind is just watching it like a TV show. And there is nothing that your reason can do about it. And what is the funniest thing is that you are happy about it, because you are locked out of your mind, the place you thought once it was safe for you to be in. But in that safe place, nothing ever happens. And falling in love with your heart means that you are firstly in contact with your emotions, that you are trusting yourself completely, that you are trusting your partner completely, and that you grant full access to your own being. Whereas when you fall in love with your mind, you grant a very specific amount of access to the other person, because you are thinking things through. You are thinking, what is this person thinking about me? What he or she will believe if I act in this way? When you fall in love with your heart, you don't care about it. You are just there, fully aware and immersed in your emotion, and you basically become your emotion. Whereas with the mind, it's all very well established, and you have an incredible safety net. If it doesn't work out, your mind won't cry about it. Your mind will be able to say, okay, I will move on. It's fine. I will move on because simply whatever I thought I could find in here, it's not in here. But with your heart, it's not that easy. And there's this saying, the heart wants what it wants, that basically explains in a very simple way this principle, that you don't get to choose the person you are falling in love with your heart. And the next question would be, is this freedom? Am I free from my own reason, from my own reasoning, if I cannot choose the person I'm falling in love with? Well, you are free precisely because it is not your purpose to be in any way. You just are. And we experience this sense of being, if I could say in a wrongly way, sense of beingness. You just are. Because being in love with your heart, it means being present in your reality as you are, without trying to construct a different identity, without trying to show off a different reality, because you are only experiencing whatever it is. And whatever it is, it's more than enough, because that's all there is. We fall in love with our minds because we get at times incredibly deep emotional wounds that tell us, you have a certain age, you should get married, you are single, go and pursue a relationship. We fall in love with our minds because we say, this person looks good, I like him or her. Or we say, this person has a nice car, and I take away the identity of that person and I merge it with that object or that social status of that person, and I say, I am in love. This person gives me a feeling of security. But you are not in love then. And you cannot be in love with a car or any object. But your mind could trick you into believing so. And it is quite sad, but it's true. There are people that have never loved with their hearts. And if you are one of the people who truly fall in love with their hearts, you will notice that those people that have never ever loved someone with their hearts will find you extremely exhausting, annoying, and they will feel that you are too much. Because whatever you are feeling, it's something foreign to their experience. It's something that is located in a place of danger. And this is a choice that we make throughout our lives. Do we open ourselves to the point where we are completely vulnerable, completely naked, and able to be destroyed by whatever the other person chooses to do with us? Or do we keep ourselves safe and we just stay on the shore and we never navigate the very deep and shallow waters of emotion? And the answer is that you need to learn things with your mind. You need to expand your knowledge. But your knowledge will never be of any use or of any good if you will not open up your heart and if you will not double this knowledge with wisdom. Because falling in love with someone, with your mind, it means that you are never caught off guard and you can never be let down. And you don't truly have a connection. You mostly have a certain image about yourself and about the other person. And it's something that is comforting. It's something that makes you feel that you have control and that whatever happens, it's in your own benefit. And you are right. There is nothing that can surprise you. Whereas when you fall in love with your heart, everything surprises you. And at many times you end up incredibly hurt. But that's your lucky chance. That's the winning ticket. The only ticket that you have been trying to avoid. Namely, to feel things in such a deep way that it cuts you open to every potential emotion and experience that your mind would have never let you feel. And there is an incredible phenomenon for people that are incredibly rational and at times judgmental and smart, and they just fall in love. And then they discover in themselves two persons. There is this old cautionary tale that tells them to listen to their mind, and it's this very strong and controlling person. And then they have this incredibly passionate and open person that it's in love. with his or her heart. So many people have a lot of trouble in finding out and differentiating between falling in love with your mind and falling in love with your heart. Because yes, you can fall in love with your mind. You can become mentally attached to a certain person, and you can become mentally attached to a certain type of people. You can become mentally attached to persons that are sexually attractive, and you can say, I am in love with every man or every woman that looks in this particular way. But you are not in love. You are actually trying to go deeper. There is a desperate pursuit of your soul, but you cannot reach your soul through your mind. And you cannot reach your soul by not taking any risk. Whereas the mind, it's always trying to keep us safe. That's the purpose of it. The mind takes comfort in knowing, where is this going to? What am I doing right now? Whereas the heart takes comfort in exploring the most dangerous options. And yes, we are pulled apart in two different directions our whole lives. And that it's an incredible spiritual growth to us. Because on one hand, my mind is keeping me incredibly anchored in my own reality and in my thoughts. And on the other hand, my heart is struggling to push me away from everything that I think I am. And my identity is lost in the process of falling in love with my heart. I am not the person I used to be when I fall in love with my heart. At times I am losing myself completely. I am losing my hopes, I am losing my dreams, I am losing my dignity. And I don't even care. Because I am so willing to experience that moment of deep, pure awareness of being in love with my heart, that nothing else could ever matter more. But on the other hand, falling in love with your heart can be a very damaging experience if you do not take care of your own heart. And if you think that it's enough to take care of the other person's heart, you will find yourself drowning in tears of abandonment and betrayal. And these tears of abandonment and betrayal are yours for yourself. Because if you haven't fallen in love with your heart, with yourself first, the love that you will experience with other people will be broken, will be the kind of love that it's mixed with regret, with sorrow, with pain, with revenge. And every time you will not receive the love you are hoping for, you will get even more addicted to it. And you will want even more the kind of love that you just cannot get it. And you will only go for it in a certain direction where you know you cannot get it. Falling in love with our mind requires self-control. It doesn't require an emotional maturity. It requires knowing. It requires wanting. It requires desire. Falling in love with your heart requires understanding, feeling, and being. Many people say, I was a fool to be in love with you. How could I do this to myself? When my mind was giving me all the warning signs that I would need to understand that you are not the right person for me. Well, if your soul needed this learning experience of opening itself up, of learning to cross some boundaries that would have never been crossed by your mind because it wasn't safe enough, then you will fall in love with your heart, and it will be an extraordinary experience. I would add to this that you should know better when to stop this extraordinary experience and when you should start healing. Yes, falling in love with your heart, it's incredibly opening. It's incredibly it's a beautiful experience, and it's an experience that you can only understand by going through it. But at the same time, you must understand, if you are falling in love with your heart with someone that has only ever loved with their mind, if you are falling in love with your heart and the other person is falling in love with his or her mind, then you will not be a match, and things will eventually fall apart. And this would be because you don't have connection. Connection happens only between two people that fall in love with their hearts, because a heart that is open can send a signal to another heart that is open. In order for the other heart to receive the signal, this heart must be open. My mind could be open right now, but my heart could be closed. So I could find a potential partner for me, and we are incredibly compatible. But if my heart is closed, then no connection could ever happen, even though our minds get well together. We understand this power of falling in love with your heart, because at times we make this mistake of thinking that we can anticipate, that we can pretend, that we can arrange things to be in a certain way. And then when we fall in love with our hearts, we realize that everything is so different from whatever we would have anticipated. And at the same time, we realize our deepest wounds. We realize if we love ourselves or not. We start to understand self-love. We start to understand self-care. And mostly we start to relate to our own consciousness in a practical way. Because the mind can lead you to some answers, but the mind could never lead you to your own consciousness. So when I am falling in love with my heart, it doesn't matter with whom I am falling in love with. I am participating in experiencing my own consciousness at an incredibly deep level, and there is no threshold, there is no filter. It's just me and whatever I have stored in my own consciousness. This cuts incredibly deep. It cuts through all the misconceptions. It cuts through all my judgmental behavior. It cuts through everything that I have once been. But at the same time, it offers me a rare insight into someone that hasn't been discovered before, into someone that I am, but I did not get to meet, because the mind has been a good guardian of whatever could hurt me. So, in a paradoxical way, we are our whole lives running away from suffering, running away from truly falling in love, namely immersing ourselves in this love. But on the other hand, we need this suffering and we need this immersion in love so we can truly awaken our consciousness, and so we can truly heal whatever it's not love, whatever it's not light, whatever it's not who we truly are, but instead it's something that has been borrowed from other people, from our educational system, and we are just practicing it for the sake of being appreciated, validated, or even loved. This was the Instagram Live for today. I am grateful that you have been watching it, and I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Maria Ducuţă, and you can also find me on my official Facebook page, Maria Ducuţă. I wish you all a lovely evening. See you soon.